Celtics head coach Ime Udoka is expected to be suspended for the entire season by the team for a violation of the organization's code of conduct. According to multiple reports, Udoka had an improper consensual relationship with a female staff member. In his absence, assistant coach Joe Mazzulla is expected to fill in as the team's interim head coach. Celtics Media Day is Monday. Training camp starts on Tuesday. Welcome into Arbella Early Edition with Trenny. Amina Smith filling in. Chris Forsberg here with me now alongside Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe, and plenty coming down today, Chris Forsberg. I did not expect this story when I woke up this morning, but when you saw this...
You got to go to sleep last night?
Look, I go to bed early. I got up at 5 a.m. and I saw this come across my timeline, but what was your immediate thought, your immediate reaction when you saw this story come across?
Yeah, so obviously it's just a wild story to begin with, and then you factor in the fact that the Celtics have, obviously Rob Williams going in for surgery, losing Danilo Gallinari. I think back to July and the addition of Malcolm Brogdon, there was so much optimism around this team, and it feels a little bit like the wheels have come off over the last few weeks and maybe tempered our expectations. I think back to Gary's paper last week writing, Rick Grossbeck saying that, trying to temper expectations a little bit. And so you want to be excited about where this team is going, and yet now this throws a little cloud, a little disarray over everything. And the Celtics have got to figure out how to kind of move past it and deal with the situation and, get through this, because it adds a little bit, it's definitely adversity, right? Not having your coach at the start of the year and letting this all play out.
And Gary, what are the ramifications that could potentially come out of this on the court for the Celtics?
Well, to me, it's going to take, if it's Joe Mazzulla or whoever the new head coach is, they're gonna have maybe some adjustments to Udoka's system. I don't think they run the same system, right? I mean, they'll be their own coach, and it's going to take the players a while to get used to that, to get used to a new voice, to get used to Udoka not being there. That's an adjustment, and you don't want to have that happen during training camp. Training camp, you're trying to get everything right. This team, as you guys know, they wanted to start fast. They were 18-21 last year before they made that 33-10 run. They wanted to get off to a really fast start. This does not help. Obviously, Gallinari being out for the season doesn't help. Robert Williams being out probably the first month of the season doesn't help. And now a new coach. I mean, suddenly, a guy that you probably know. I mean, they know Mazzulla well, and he coached in Summer League. But to me, this is a major adjustment. This is not something you can downplay or, they'll be fine. He's not going to be gone 2 weeks, folks. I mean, he's going to be gone a while, if not the season. So they're going to have to adjust to a brand new voice.
And that's a good point that Gary brings up, that this team, they weren't looking to have the same start that they did last season, where they were below 500 by the time we were watching them in January. They want to go off to a fast start. How deflating could it be, Forsberg, for this team, knowing that they're coming into this season with NBA title expectations? Yeah,
and unfortunately, that is Mazzulla's challenge. That's Brad Stevens' challenge, to kind of keep some continuity, keep their spirits up, and trying to motor through this without Ime in his place. And one thing I think back to last year is it's sort of this team took on the identity of Ime and sort of being that tough, resilient type and fighting and grinding and finding a way to make it all work. And Ime hung in there at a point when this team really could have splintered. How does that manifest itself now starting a new season? The one thing I will go back to is that Mazzulla does have the confidence of his players. When he interviewed for that job with Utah in June, Jason Tatum came out in the finals and said, we love Joe. We're lucky to have him. Ime himself gushed about the game planning that Mazzulla did against Miami. And yet, as Gary laid out, it's undeniable. There's just going to be a different way of going about things, and it's going to take some time to get used to that. It doesn't matter if they run the same stuff, or it's like a different voice and a different energy coming out of there. And so I'm eager to see how Joe kind of wins over that locker room and pushes them forward.
Gary, just really quickly, how difficult do you think it will be for Joe to win over that locker room, especially a team that really took on Ime Udoka's identity last season?
I think it will have some difficulties. Remember, he's young. He's younger than Al Horford. Okay, so this is a guy who's kind of inexperienced. I mean, he's been around in terms of college coaching circles, and he coaches Summer League, but he's not one of these, grizzled vets. You're not naming one of these older guys to kind of take over. He's new. You know, he's going to have to, everyone says that 6 inches or the foot or 2 feet you move over to the head coach's seat is completely different than being a lead assistant or one of the top assistants. So he's going to have to get used to that. Get used to, you know, how do you want to run shoot around? What's the travel schedule like? Do you want to stay certain nights in certain cities overnight? Like things that Ime had to, you know, learn during his time as assistant and now as a head coach, Mazzulla's going to have to learn. And let's face it, is the suspension mean Ime is just banned from the arena? Can he be around? Can he go to a practice? Can he call guys? Like, this is all unprecedented, because if it's like, Ime, stay away, like you cannot even contact guys, or you can contact them on your own. We don't know what this suspension means. Is it like you just can't coach, or you just can't be in the building?